Yeah, I mean, well, the city's on fire right now, at least musically. You know, we got so many different artists coming out, so many different producers. It's great for competition because, you know, nothing like the guy two doors down from you is making bangers. And what are you doing? You're on your Xbox? Like, DJ Agile, I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm a member of Brassmunk and Big Black Lincoln. Produced for Nas, Grant Lewis, and Carnal, and Method Man, and a whole bunch of other people. And yeah, just kind of doing my own thing, DJ producer life, and avid Serato user. So yeah, we're here in my lab. You know, one of my songwriters, Cash, she calls it the dungeon. Yeah, and I'm doing the music for a Netflix show called Hip Hop Evolution for seasons 3 and seasons 4. I'm not pitching a product here. I actually use Serato sample to help me in this process because A, it's super fast, but B, doing music for visuals is much different than, like, you know, making a banger for the club or some cool out music for Sunday mornings, right? The music is secondary, so there's always usually like a lot of changes. So with Serato sample, you know, as I get the notes back from the producers, it's boom, boom, boom. It's like really easy to make quick changes. I started with a 950 and a K2000, so I've been an Akai guy. I know you see Machine in the studio now. I'm a new Machine guy, but I guess it's like anything else, like whatever the diet you've been fed, right? You know, you grew up 10 years eating just Burger King, McDonald's. They bring you real food, your palate's not gonna understand what you're eating. Growing up as an adolescent, discovering hip hop, you know, like I got into it around the time of Run DMC, Rakim, Slick Rick, LL, all that stuff. That was my entry era. The stuff that I was into was very East Coast, very New York centered. And that kind of distorted my ears for other sounds, like stuff coming out of Seattle or Houston or Miami or Atlanta, at least the early stuff. I didn't really have a taste for it because of what I was fed. And it wasn't until, you know, I got a little older and started discovering, you know, the bigger palette of hip hop where I was like, oh, I missed out on prime years of that fire because I was like stuck in my bubble, in my East Coast bubble. Some of the, you know, those early approaches, the drum machine programming, especially like 808, 909 stuff they were doing was like super way ahead of its time. Like guys are doing that now in FL and, you know, any kind of step editor digitally that these guys were doing with hardware in the 80s and early 90s, and it's kind of crazy. It's like they were doing those massive fills and rolls early, and that's kind of like modern day hip hop. Working on this project has really helped me understand how a lot of those records were made. It was really cool. This is one of the joints that they couldn't get the sample cleared for. So they're like, hey, this is a smash hit from the 90s. We need you to remake this vibe, because you can't obviously remake the song, right? You know, then you get a nice little cease and desist and some other paperwork. You know, this one's a New Jack Swing joint, so that's a little harder because, you know, New Jack Swing is like those classic keyboards and drum machines, and add a James Brown loop or add a BT Express loop or whatever, but you're usually adding some sort of drum loop, and that gives you the swing. So it's making New Jack Swing without, you know, that main ingredient, right? So it was definitely challenging, but as you see, I have like 5 or 6 Serato samples opened. I'll play my own stuff, bounce it out, and throw it in Serato sample. Because, you know, I can time stretch it real quick. I can move it around if I need to move keys. You know, it's like one click. It's so fast. Yeah, so this is something from Stylus. So they have tons of stuff where you can tell that, you know, they had somebody like mimicking classic breakbeat records, you know, with different drummers and then whatever processes and textures they were trying to recreate. So I tried to grab, you know, something that sounded like the break that was in the original piece that I'm remaking. You know, it was originally in A minor. I put it down 2 semitones, boom, right in the key of the song, put in a couple chops, because there's only two specific phrases I wanted it to repeat, and good to go. The original Stylus loop is at 112 beats per minute. This track is at 105. You know, the sync, when you load Serato sample, the sync button's already on. As soon as you pop a sample in, it locks it in. So it's super, super, super helpful. I'm sure you guys can try to figure out what I was remaking, but here we go. Yeah, you see the guitar groove all chopped up. I got 4 chops in there to follow a specific progression. Matrix keys, matrix bass, the whole 9. And yeah, the great thing about Serato sample is like, songs in G minor, but you can still use, I put the sleigh bells in D minor. It's a neighboring key for all the musically trained folk. Once again, this is not a club joint, you know what I mean? This is not something you're gonna bang in the club, but this works with the visuals. When you're doing music for visuals, always understand that this is accompaniment, right? This is not the star of the show. Like whatever dialogue and whatever things going on the screen, that's the star of the show. And this has to, play a supporting role. It's a different mentality, you're trying to recreate, but you're not trying to like go ham and like have it super heavy where it's distracting, right? When I'm working on this, they send me video clips, so I'm working to the video clip. So you're trying to work fast, right? Because you got to send it back to the producer. The producer's gonna be like, "Hey, nah, change this. I like this. I don't like this. This is distracting." Da, 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 da. I don't want to be here tuning hi-hats for 3 hours for a piece that's gonna run for 15 seconds. It's about speed and quality. Like how can you knock out a high quality really quick, and that's what it is. And Serato sample really helps with that. Yeah.